Hello, 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 everybody. Let me tell you, I don't know about you, but I have found myself jamming to that countdown music. Boom, It is becoming a knock. Let me tell you, I'm enjoying it very much. But for those of you all who don't know who I am Dr. Renita L. Webb, educational leadership strategist. I am a one-on-one leadership coach. I also do group trainings and coachings. I am also an author. I am a wife. I am a mother of four, not eight, four children. And I'm the author. I already said that, but I'm the author of Stepmom Trials, Tribulations, and Triumphs. And also, While You Are Sleeping, the Perfect Children of All Ages books. And I am so excited to come to you yet again this evening with another episode of Leadership Live. We are now in week five. Five of 2021. Can you believe it? I have had four incredible guests. I mean, these women laid it down. And let me tell you that tonight's guest will be no different. So I think that you need to buckle up your seatbelts, get ready, because here we go. Let me bring this lovely lady onto the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Jasmine Jones. Let's just start off this. When you're leading your life in a mighty way, you will lead in your looks. Because, honey, darling, you are doing that today. You look amazing.
Thank you. Had to represent, had to dress up, dress to impress.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you have dressed, you are impressing, you are doing all of that. Jasmine is a phenomenal young lady. She is a queen in her own right. So we share the queendom together. But I am going to allow Jasmine to reintroduce or introduce herself to those watching today. Jasmine, go ahead and tell the people about Jasmine Jones.
Yes. Hi, people. I am Jasmine Jones. I am a former Miss Wayne County International 2019. And I am also founder of the Primp Life Plan. My heart and soul is an empowerment organization for young girls. We empower through our motivational comic books and our workshop series. Pretty much found that purpose when I was 16 years old, and I've been continuing with that ever since. And aside from that, I'm a social entrepreneur, meaning I entrepreneur for the impact of it all. And yes, and I'm also 25 years old, and I am living my best millennial life.
Come on, best millennial life. All right, somebody. So, yeah, for those of you all who weren't paying the closest attention, I need you to hear something. One, she's 25. 25. Two, she has her own organization at 25. And she started that at what? 16. Did y'all hear 16? So I was watching the Terrell Grice show, the Terrell show on YouTube the other day, and one of my favorite episodes is with the Walls Group, and they call themselves Young Vets. So the fact being that you are 9 years into this game and you're only 25, I think you have qualified for the term young vet. Welcome.
Young vet.
She is a young vet in this game. Jasmine, I don't know about your family, but I don't know how they couldn't be as proud of you as I am right now.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. That means a lot.
Oh my goodness, so many incredible things. And let me tell you all, through the Primp Life Plan, she also has this show. She produces her own show called Beauty Talk. And I had the opportunity to experience her beauty talk through the lens of her and my daughter having a talk. So not only is she being fabulous in her own right, she's encouraging that in young women as well. My oldest daughter is 10, and she got to be interviewed by Jasmine, and she didn't ask any wimpy questions. They had a conversation.
We did. We did.
So, Jasmine, I'm just going to start off the bat and say, okay, so you have the Primp Life Plan. You started this venture when you were 16. What was the full motivation behind it, and what are the goals, and what are you doing with it now besides Beauty Talk?
Well, how we started is actually a really funny story. It started off as a partnership, and it was born from a book. I had co-authored a book with my best friend. It was a self-help guide, and it was called How to Primp Life. You know, primp life meaning make your life as beautiful as possible. Because you know, when you primp, you're grooming yourself, or you're in the mirror, and this and that. And so primp life, you take that same process with your life, whether that's making careful decisions, you know, putting the right people around you, and just being positive. And that's pretty much what was expressed in the book. And we were 16 years old when we did that. And then we would go around to different schools and have different discussions and like rap sessions with other teenagers, some that were younger, like 13 to 14, and some that were our same age. And then eventually we kind of went our separate ways as far as, you know, business partnership. But I wanted to keep it going. I was like, this can't die. Like this is way too important. You know, it started off as just us sharing simple advice that we would tell ourselves, advice that we get from our mothers, you know, teachers, other adults in our lives, our other friends. But I was like, no, it can't die. The idea can't die. I have a really hard time letting ideas go. So what I did was I restructured it, and because I said there's a need and there's an important for younger girls. And 14 is young, you know, 13, 14, 15, 16, that's very young. But I oftentimes feel like our smaller children, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, are often forgot about, because they have a journey of self-esteem and confidence as well. You know, it looks different at that age, but it's an important one because it's the foundation and it's the stepping stone. And then I said, you know, what did I like when I was that age? And I immediately thought about cartoons, superheroes, and animation, which I still love. I'm still a big kid about it to this day. And that's when I developed the persona of Primp Girl. And she's a 14-year-old superhero in the comic book. And then eventually, over time, as the organization grew, I met our spokesgirl. Her name is Paige, who you see in the webtoons, The Adventures of Primp Girl and Friends. Friends are usually Paige and Mama Shanta, as she's named in the comic. These are all based off real people. And that's pretty much what has led us right here. And then right now with we're still doing Beauty Queen Talk. We were doing it every week when we had just wrote the Beauty Queen webtoon. But now that the Beauty Queen webtoon has already been released, we do it at least once or twice a month. And being a beauty queen was such a huge part of my confidence journey, of my self-esteem. You know, it might sound cliche, you know, pageants will help your confidence. I feel like everyone hears that. From a pageant girl, you know, they usually say that, but it's so true. You know, I was very shy growing up. I mean, I still am, you know, shy, but I used to didn't really talk at all. It was hard to get me to say things, you know, if I wasn't being spoken to. And pageantry really opened that door to, I mean, because you have to, you know, speak in front of people, even with, you know, walking or presenting yourself on the stage. And it's just was such a huge part of that I wanted to make a webtoon out of it and encourage other young girls, especially young Black girls, to, you know, to dive into the world of pageantry, because I think we all kind of have that awkward self-esteem, confidence moment at that age. And I really do truly think it's an asset. I mean, look at you and your daughter. You know, y'all are beautiful, confident, powerful women, and you know, powerful young lady, a little girl. And in pageantry, you know, definitely plays a part in that. So that's how we got to Beauty Queen Talk and where we're at now.
Well, I will say I enjoy the cartoon, so I watch the comic. So just so you all know, if you don't already follow the Prep Life Plan on Facebook and Instagram, then you haven't seen this greatness. So there is a whole storyline, and like there drops, like they tell you this gonna drop at 2 o'clock. You can see the new piece of the story at 2 o'clock. So there's this whole adventure that you take with Prep Girl and Paige and everybody else they come in contact with, and Paige has created, she's creating her kind of own business. She's created a vision board, and she has all these different things going on. It's so cool to watch. But one thing that I am noticing in the comic, as well as in your story, is that you have been blessed to have some amazing people surrounding you. And you've had an opportunity to lead early. Can you talk to me about, who are your greatest inspirations and who really inspired you to take on a strong leadership role? It's something as big as creating your own entity at such an early age. How did you feel empowered? What made you feel so empowered to be able to do that?
Yes. Oh gosh, that's a wonderful question. Because my biggest inspiration is definitely my parents, and I'm an only child, so by default I'm just close with them.
I feel
right, we're just automatically close, with our parents. That's just kind of how it goes. But they've been my biggest inspiration in the way of, so when I was 16 and like, creating the foundation of Print Life, my dad at the time had a what was it called, a print on demand publishing company, meaning he would print what you would give him. He wouldn't really do extensive editing and things like that. And so when we were just typing advice to ourselves, I was like, man, this needs to be a book. It has to, and I'm a visionary, so I always have the extra ideas. I'm like, no, we got to share this with the world. And he's the first person I called, and he was like, well, I'll tell you what, if y'all go ahead and write it, and I'll actually edit your copy, I'll edit it for you, and we'll get it out there. And that's just an example of the empowerment that, just he has played in my life, just always supporting my big dreams and goals. And he never kind of quoting them as impossible. I mean, and I have huge dreams, and he's never not once, said, oh, I don't know, or that's a little lofty, he never, he never put that thought in my head. It's always just a, go for it. And these, what you need to do to make it happen. And we will always kind of go from there. And so that always empowers me. It makes me kind of feel unstoppable. And, just having that early. And then he's an entrepreneur. He's been an entrepreneur his whole life, pretty much. So I guess it was destined a little bit, but that was his role. And then my mom, she's just always been my backbone. And I that's what mothers do,
Mm-hmm.
They hold you up, and she's just always been, so like the way they support is so different. Like my dad, I guess, is more expressive in his support, and my mom was seem kind of quiet about it. And then something happened where I remember I was trying to do a vendor show. It was the first time I would have my stuff out there in like a large setting, and we needed some stuff last minute, like just things like tables, and we had to make sure we get there. And my mom just pretty much, oh, okay, I got you. Yep. And she always does that. She always like swoops in to does that. And that lets me know that she's, behind me 100%. And that has always empowered me, because I'm like, oh, I think they think this could work. So.
But, I like the way you described how the support looked different, but it didn't mean that one was better than the other.
Yes, definitely so. Because I had to learn that, even with the support I get through other people, because we're heavy on social media. One of my avid supporters, Miss Ashley. Hey, Miss Ashley, if you're watching, but if she doesn't share it, on Facebook, I should not take offense. That's not her thing. But whenever we have a fundraiser, she's the first person to donate. I've learned that people show their support in different ways, and I definitely learned that, through my parents. But I mean, they definitely set the stone for empowerment, as far as that goes. But I'm also empowered by other women, especially Black women that are doing great things. Like when I see stuff like this, and I meet people like you, it gives me kind of like fuel to keep going. It lets me know that where I want to go is not too far. It's not too far away. It really just kind of keeps me focused.
Awesome. Well, I would say it's an honor to be an inspiration to someone like you. You amaze me, and I enjoy watching you. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have met you because it was through pageantry.
It
Um,
was.
yeah. So for everyone who's out there who doesn't know, my oldest daughter is the Noble Miss Junior Preteen Miss and print model for 2021. Big shout out to the Noble Miss pageant system. It is phenomenal, and they're having a prelim on March 7th, in case you didn't know, and you want to get in pageantry. And this is from the biddies to the itty bitties to seasoned. It's a great system to join. But I'm very grateful to them because they set up this workshop, and the Prep Life Plan was doing the workshop. And so my daughter got to participate, and she was very interested, and she had lots of things to say, and they ran out of time.
Was.
So,
She definitely was.
along with her co-host, Vera, said, "Oh, can we can answer your question later?" And so we ended up having this wonderful conversation. And when Jasmine says that she will jump onto a dream, I got to see it firsthand. So we have an idea for my daughter to do later this year, which all of you all will be involved, just so you know. It is both leadership and arts all wrapped into one. But we told her this idea, and let me tell you, Jasmine was like, okay. And when I say we had a whole 2-page synopsis post,
Yes.
that discussion, and this was really improv too. So, Jasmine, I know you have something else that's new out called the Brand Bestie. And if you do anything for these besties that you will get, that like you did for us, I can only imagine how grand it would be. Can you tell us about the Brand Bestie and how it even connects to some of the other work that you're doing?
Yes. So like Dr. Webb was saying, the Brand Bestie is a new venture I started. And like I was saying earlier, I have 1,000 ideas, and I'm a visionary, and I really love helping other visions, especially people that I believe in, and that I already, see the potential in. And the Brand Bestie, we are a brand consulting service. So pretty much what happens is you call, and during this call, if you have an idea, let's say you want to, I don't know, open a cosmetic line, and you don't know, where to start. You might not have the name. You might have some colors in mind, maybe, or you might know, okay, I know I want to sell lipstick, and this and that. What I'll do is basically through conversing with you, while we're on the phone, I write up a whole entire like note sheet, and it's pretty much an outline of your steps to build your business or your idea. Whatever it is that you pretty much ask for the call. Like if someone requests, like they need social media or marketing help, then we figure out that social media plan on the phone, and this can be done through multiple calls as well. Kind of just depends on the need of the person. But that is the core of the business, and it connects to everything else I do, because Prompt Life itself was one of these, outrageous ideas as well. And I have 1,000 ideas, for Prompt Life specifically every day, with the content we build and with the writing. And but it doesn't stop there. I also, when I think about my friends that are entrepreneurs, like my best friend is a fashion designer. I'll text her at 4 a.m. sometimes with the whole marketing plan, because it was just in my head. And I'm like, oh, listen, you need to do this, this, and this. Of course she's asleep, but when she wakes up,
It's been for. But let me tell you, this is what I'm loving about you. You do exactly what I try to encourage my daughters I try to encourage myself. I try to encourage other women I see. You shine. You have absolutely no problem shining. Honey, you are a 200-watt bulb, and it is a beautiful thing.
Thank
But then
you.
what you do is encourage and assist other people to do the same. I talk about being a light carrier. We all were born and a light was placed in us at birth, and we're supposed to let
Mhm.
that shine. At some point in time it gets turned on, and your duty is to let that shine. What I love is that your light is not being diminished, but you have found the secret, the formula to helping other people let their light shine as well. That is one of the most beautiful attributes of a person, and you carry it so well.
Thank you. That means the world. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I might tear up. That
But
is
you do.
wow, thank you.
But
I don't even look at it that way sometimes, you know.
oh, but you absolutely do. But I'm going to say this. So we talked about this briefly before we jumped on live, and I think it ties to another conversation you had with somebody else earlier. Um, and it's actually dealing with my um, soft skill of the month. So for those of you all who don't know what soft skills are those things that you can't go to school to learn to do. You're not going to get a degree in soft skills. You are going to get all these technical things that are called hard skills, and you put those things on your resume. Help build da 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 da. The soft skills are the things that really are the behind the scene skills. It is things like teamwork and team building and confidence and adaptability and decision making. All those things are soft skills. So my soft skill of the month this month for us to all enjoy together is confidence. I think it takes a certain level of confidence in yourself in order to, one, let your light shine, but then also not be scared or feel diminished when you see light all around you. I think that's what some people run into. They get into these things where they are scared that their light is not bright enough because they see this real shiny light next to them, but they forgot that
Mhm.
their light is their light. So this is going to bring me to the discussion that you all were having earlier, and we're going to swing this away. So there is a situation out there where a young lady who is quite popular in the millennial life, where her name is Chloe, and she did this challenge where has been a big, huge challenge. And I've seen the challenge done about 9 billion different ways. And for those of you all who are not familiar with challenges on social media, a lot of people put out these hashtag whatever challenges, and you're
Mhm.
supposed to replicate. And so
Mhm.
she challenge is called a busted challenge.
Yep.
And I've seen people take all kinds of spins on it. And it's usually when they're supposed to drop and then something else happens and it's not what it is. But this young
Yep.
lady, she did it and she was going for it. And a lot of people got very angry with her. But she came back and she actually did this whole apology, and she was talking about how she lacked confidence. And you would look at her and say, there is no way on God's green earth you aren't confident. But that's because we're looking at her. We're not living her experience. And I heard you say in your earlier interview, because I'm a follower,
Oh.
that sometimes you struggle with your own confidence.
Mhm.
Can you talk to us about, one, what it's like being a social media, almost in your own right, a social media influencer, millennial, and dealing with confidence?
Oh, it is a journey, you know, because confidence and I think that's probably why like God assigned Print Life, to me specifically. It's kind of been something I've struggled with since I was a child, confidence, esteem. It's been like a growth process. And you can ask, people, that know me well, they've seen the growth for me, like, being quiet and not speaking to, using my voice, et cetera, et cetera. When in the social media world, where what happens is you kind of get pushed with all these standards are pushed on you, and usually they all look the same. It'd be a little different if there was a bunch of different types of standards kind of put before us, that kind of mirrored the real world, but that's not usually what happens. Usually it's one type of look or one type of skin tone, one type of hair, something that's kind of pushed to the forefront. And then what happens is, those that, don't exactly look like that or don't exactly mirror that get the backlash end of it. And all of a sudden you're not enough. And that's not true. You're definitely enough if you're being your authentic self. But that's that's been a journey, especially, when you Instagram and TikTok and all that is part of our daily lives now. So you kind of wake up and go to the phone. And if you're not careful, it can really get you some days. And when I was having this conversation earlier on a live, reflecting on Chloe's experience, I think she was saying she found confidence in her dancing and things like that, and that became like her happy place. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, you'll get flack for, because I think the public was angry at her for, I guess, being quote unquote too sexy. But you could get backlash on the opposite end as well, because that was the conversation I was having. And it's not just about image. I'm not just promoting a clean image. I pretty much just being myself. And I had to learn where my confidence stems from, so I don't kind of fall into the rabbit hole of low self-esteem and comparing myself to everybody else, because that's one thing I did learn. Like your source of confidence is going to be different for other people, because in a world where kind of every woman is supposed to be like sexy, and they have the busted challenge and silhouette challenge, whatever else is going on, you have to remember who you are, and that was a conversation I was having. Like, my source of confidence comes more so from my ability, my creativity, my purpose. Smiling, that's more so me, but that might not be another woman's source. Another woman's source might be, it might be dancing, it might be singing, could be anything really. But I do think, I hate that that happened to her and that she was bullied online, but I do think it's a good example of just standing firmly to who you are and where your confidence shines from.
That's so good.
Yeah, it's a lot. The social media world is kind of crazy. That's why with the younger girls, with Prompt Life, the main component we're trying to teach is like embrace your individual self. When I was talking to Rain, she has it. She always was talking about her lights and and that she's unique, and I just love that she knows that, at this young age, because if she knows that now, and she always remembers that, she won't feel slighted when the standards kind of pop out at her. Because it's not like I don't want to say they're bad standards, but it's not like they're standards that need to be upheld. It's just what society is kind of falling for at the moment, which changes in a matter of a second.
But okay, so we're gonna unpack some of that. Okay. So so much, and it's been so good. I'm glad that you say that about my daughter, because it's something that we work on regularly, is confidence and understanding who we are and our uniqueness and our individuality. But two things that you brought up, and I think that sometimes could almost be contradictory. One, you talked about standards, and like you said, the standard changes in society, especially social media society, which I feel like is a whole different world. But then also you talked about authenticity. So being true to who you are, being authentically who you are, is sometimes very tough. One, because people haven't discovered who they are. I know people who are in their 60s who are just now figuring it out, because they've been so worried about the standard and living to the standard and being enough for the standard, that they never really took the time to find themselves.
It's deep. Yeah.
But then, how authentic is authentic? When do you ever really figure that out? Is that too ever changing? But then using that as a source of confidence. So you talked about your confidence source.
Mhm.
So all the things I just want to chat quickly about, because when did you, or do you feel like you have found your authentic
I let me see. I think I feel like I just discovered it. Well, it's so many. I feel like there's levels to it. Like I feel like before college, I was completely lost. You know, I'm not a follower type of person, but I was like, before college, just very shy and quiet and not using my voice and et cetera, which was not living in my authentic self. And then when I, got to college, I kind of got out of that a little bit, but not fully. And then the next phase, when I get like, my big girl job and I moved out on my own, I felt lost again. And then I started pageantry and I found, more of myself. And then I noticed when I kind of dive in deeper with print life at each, moment, or either I kind of revert back to like my faith, then I get stronger. But I think it's one of these things that just keep growing as I grow. I don't
Mhm.
know if it'll like ever kind of stay the same, but I do know I'm a lot further along than I was when I was, let's say 19.
I think that anybody who lived past 19 is further along. It's a unique age. It's a big age of transition, but I like what you say. It's evolving. It's ever evolving, because every day we're going to have a new experience. Every day we're going to try something different. There's a new part of it that grows because we had a new experience,
Mhm.
and it's okay. Um, but I think that, so how, maybe this is in a sensation or a feeling word, how does it feel different when you're being authentically yourself versus when you're not?
Well, I think it feels different when uh let me see if I can give an example. Like if something bothers you, and let's say you speak out about it, and maybe that's not something you would normally do, or whatever. Um but then you do it, and then you feel good. You're not questioning, oh my God, why did I say that? Or, oh, what did I say? Let me go back and change it. Let me go back and apologize. Let me go back and do this and make sure I didn't hurt anybody's feelings. But instead you kind of stand your ground in how how you feel, or using your voice, and you stand confident in what it is you believe in. I think that's how you know. At least for me, that's how I knew. It's like, okay, I don't want to change my statement. I'm good with what I said. Like, this is how I feel, and I'm gonna own up to that.
But that's good, because that's a true, well, that's such a good picture of that. Oh, I was authentic. No, that's really, it's one of those, I guess it was Nene Leakes who said it originally. I said what I said and I meant it, and that's it. And I feel good about it, even if you don't. So there's the piece of authenticity that, where you realize that you're not everybody's people, and not
Yeah.
everybody.
Oh, yes. Oh man, that was powerful, because, oh gosh, that is such a lesson to learn. That was another part of it, because like being a people pleaser. I feel like sometimes women, we kind of want to people please. I know, at least as like younger women, that's you're kind of in that limbo, not wanting to upset people sometimes. Um, but that is a huge thing.
Yeah. And I think that, being that we were made to be interconnected beings, which I do truly believe that, or else we wouldn't all be here, it's hard when you don't feel the connection to somebody else for some reason or another. Um, but we were all made free thinking and given free will, and we all have our own different beliefs, and we all have a different level of authenticity, and our who we are is different. And it doesn't mean that we can't still love and we can't still care, but maybe you don't need to listen to me. Maybe you don't need to be here on Monday nights. Maybe you don't need to read the Prep Life Plan. Maybe this is not for you. But whoever it
Mhm.
is for will appreciate when I say what I say and I mean it and it feels good and I don't have to go
Yeah.
back to that. Somebody needed it. And until I walk in that, I am holding other people back because they needed that moment. They needed me to say what I said. They needed to feel my genuine right then.
Mhm.
And I
Ooh.
think social media gives us a good chance to do that, even though I think we can't discount the idea of the face-to-face pieces when we can have them back. But God bless social media right now because
Right.
my goodness gracious, there's so many people who can have great connections through this virtual space. My goodness, I can't even imagine how great it's going to be when we finally do get back together. So
Yes.
I want to bring this up too. So you are a true bona fide, look it up, real strong, definite millennial.
Yes.
When I look up the definition in the years for millennial, that thing lied to me and said that I was supposed to be a millennial, but I have a son who's in a millennial, so I feel like this is just not right. But there's also this little cusp of years that they say about Zenlennial, since it's an X-lineal. So
Yes.
generation into millennial. And I feel like I really fall in that because I grew up and I had rotary phones. And I remember when the internet came into being,
Mhm.
uh, I did a report on the information superhighway. Um,
Information.
before the internet was a thing, I remember when the computer went from black and green screens to color. Like I remember all this. I remember there was a time with no cell phones. I was part of Beeper Nation.
Okay.
But then I see millennials and true millennials because I feel like, I mean, I also have lived with a cell phone. I know how to operate social media. I mean, I'm up on things. I
Yeah.
know what the budget is. So I feel like I'm in this strong cusp, but you are in true in-depth millennial life. Yet you have found one source of confidence, two, the ability to lead unapologetically. Do you see this as a trend within your generation, or do you think it's something that people are doing more conforming because they're so concerned about social media that they're not truly taking leadership roles?
Oh, that's a good question. I I do think it's something that is a part of the millennial generation. Because I believe like the millennials specifically, I think what we have is innovation, or like the need to think outside the box. I think everybody has the ability to think outside the box, but millennials, like, we have to be different, and we also want things convenient, uh like convenience, and then innovation, which gives us the whole, I feel like it gives us the inventor hashtag, if you will. Like it kind of makes us creators by nature, or creatives. And I think what happens sometimes, creativity doesn't always translate to leadership, but that can be cultivated with experiences. So if a millennial were to have, a certain experience, they can, be cultivated into a leader. Because that's always how I've seen it. Because me, myself, and then my peers, I feel like, with experience we've had, maybe like in college, like we led an organization, or assisted in a protest, or what else? Created a social media trend. And these are all forms of leadership, but I don't think we look at it in a literal way until it happens. And then, we get a title and we're like, oh, okay, let's see if it fit me.
Oh, leader. I'll take that. I'll take that. Look, okay, let's go
Yeah,
with
we're like,
that.
oh, all right, here you go. But this is my spin on it. So I'm a leader, but I do this. I feel like that's a lot of times what we end up doing.
But you know what? That's good to hear because one, I run into so many people who are leaders who have no clue that they're leaders. Like it just blows my mind, especially women. Like, what do you mean you don't know that you're a leader? No, I'm not a leader. I just have 6 businesses. I have 12 children, and I homeschool them all. And I also create this art that I sell at the People's Market on the weekend. And I found myself literally doing this, like almost getting angry. but you're not a leader. So you just thought something great. You said, I'm a leader, but I'm also blah, 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 blah. In your mind, what is a leader?
To me, wow, that is a great question. I think a leader is someone who, well, honestly, I mean, this might sound cliche, but I think a leader is someone who leads by example. Honestly and truly, which not all of our leaders have done. Take a pick at whichever one, meaning leader is on like a public platform. But to me, a true leader, leads by example. So they might be telling you this and that, but they also reflect this in their lifestyle. And I think anybody that's doing that truly is a leader, or rather they use their platform and their resources to help others. Either one of those, I think that's really what leadership is about. And I probably learned that from my parents as well. My dad's a minister too, and I mean, that's a leadership position in its own way. But I have, like, watching him over the years, he acts what he says, and same with my mom. She doesn't have, she's not a minister or anything like that, but the life she lives reflects what she says.
Mm-hmm.
And that just, to me, that's real leadership. It's like, okay, you got it. Like,
but okay, I love it. I love it, because one, you're right. But I will say this. You are right on both sides of the coin. Yes, leaders lead by example, even if their example sucks.
Yeah.
So my definition that when I work with people one-on-one, particularly, or even in group setting, I say what's a leader? A leader is a person who has followers.
Oh.
Follows you. I mean, if you have a fellowship of any sort, you are really a leader, whether you accept the title or not, whether you're great or if you suck. You are still a leader, and somebody is following you, which is why all these people who say that they are not leaders, anybody following you, anybody listening to you, anybody watching you. So, I'll probably bring this up 9 billion times during this year on Leadership Live. The whole idea of the song, sometimes I feel like somebody's watching me, but they're watching you. So whether you want to own it or not, as long as somebody's watching you and following you, whether it be into heaven or to damnation, you are still a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And you are doing exactly what you said. You are leading by example. So, because a lot of times you'll hear these amazing people say these great things, and you should this and you should that, and this and that and that and this, and then you watch them and they do the opposite.
Yes.
Still leading. They just may not be. They may not be leaders that lead to positivity. I won't even say they're not good leaders, because they sometimes are really good leaders and leading people to crappy stuff.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are, but they are doing exactly what you said. They're leading by example in everything they do. That was such a simplistic way to put it, but I love it, because that's what leaders do, whether they're good or not. It's the good leaders who, one, acknowledge that their example is being followed, then also utilizing the example, or like in millennial land, their influence,
Mm-hmm.
and allowing that to change the world in a positive way.
Definitely.
Because my goal is to be that leader that you will watch me and you will say, oh my gosh, I love it. I did XYZ, and man, she did this. Oh, you know what? I'm about to go take this and go blah, 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 blah. Do it, honey. Because my goal is to do exactly what you said, to lead by example.
Yes. And
That's
you definitely do. And I could see that within your daughter, you know. Um, I could definitely see it. So
thank you for putting it that way, because people say it, but they don't put it like you put it. Like that was so good.
oh
To talk about your mother and your father. Your father has a very specific traditional leadership role. And people would say, oh, yeah, he's a leader. He's a pastor of a church. He's a leader. But they may not look at your mother and say the same thing, but it doesn't mean that she's not a leader and that she's not a dynamic and strong leader. Because obviously she is. Because, honey, she has inspired you and taken you to places you didn't know you would go. If
yes,
no, she
definitely.
was going to have a good event because she was going to have the tables there. Because you couldn't have done what you did without her.
Amen. That's so true. I always say, you know, when I'm thinking of like strength or, you know, wanting to like make sure I use my voice, I always think back, you know, to her, because she always does that. Like, you know, that's always like my first thought, you know, like, will my mom stand for this nonsense? Would she would she do it?
But you know what? A leader that you'll take back into your mind, because a lot of us think about and we give these great quotes, you know, when you know better, you do better. Because I feel like I hear that in Maya Angelou's voice. Like I feel
Mhm.
like so when I'm doing some things, I'm like, oh, I know better than that. Because Maya said, when you know better, you do better. But when you go back into these other voices in these non-traditional leadership roles, even though I think mother is one of the largest leadership roles that anybody will ever play.
It
I have
definitely is.
many of leadership roles that have been really leadery on paper, but my role as a mother, honey, it is like none other.
Yes.
That's I had to write a whole book just about being a stepmom. Not even I hadn't even really written a book about having to birth children. I'm just dealing with my first two that I fed so much I own them. But it's such a strong position. But I mean, when I think about leaders speak to me in my mind because I remember things that they said. But one of my greatest leaders is my mother. The idea of association brings on assimilation. Birds of a feather flock together.
Yes.
Those things ring. They ring. And just like you said, with my mama staying for this. How's my mother feel when she finds out I did? Will she find out I did? I mean, that carries over into my own leadership roles. So what, aside from your parents, are there any other leader voices that you hear in your head?
Leader references that I hear in my head. You know what? Yeah. Now that I think about it, the really I have to shout out teachers real quick, because when I think about like the leaders that have like you know, really had an effect on me, or the women that have had an impact on me, it's always been like a teacher of some sort. My fifth grade teacher, Miss Deans, my guidance counselor in high school, Miss Lori. She wasn't my teacher per se. She's like my play godmother, Miss Bell, Mama Thorpe, which was a professor at NC State. Like I hear, and it's not just one specific thing. Wasn't really not anything they necessarily said, but I just remember things they would do, and I remember how they would live. You know, all smart women, all, you know, smart and just very, what's the word, like loving, just very beautiful souls, but also strong mentally. And they take, you know, stands for what they believe in, and they, you know, ambitious, and they've accomplished their goals. And I think about them a lot, and I include some of them in my webtoons. You know.
Well, Janice Pickford here believes that you too are amongst that great list of great leaders. So just know that you are making a difference. Educators, I hope you heard that. I'm sure there's several educators because I'm an educator. I've been a teacher all the way through principal and college professor. Educators that are watching know that you are leading. because your voices are constantly ringing in the ears of those in your fellowship. And you said the same thing. The story keeps resounding. You may not even remember specific things that they said, but you remember what they did because they were leading by example.
Yes,
They
yes.
were leading
That
by
makes
example.
so much sense that you're an educator now. Because like, and I'm not saying all, teachers. There are some teachers that are in, but like the educators that make an impact, there's a common thread that, like, with having like a very beautiful spirit. And that's what it is. Okay, I just made that connection because I didn't even know.
But I will say I was a very reluctant educator. This the one job I said I would never have. I did not go to school for education. My plan was to be on Broadway. I have a very good friend from, well, I won't say very good friend. We were friends in school. We don't talk as much now, but I try to follow him. And he is now a Tony nominated actor and performer on Broadway. And I look at him and say, God, I wish that was me, but it wasn't my path. So I do also relish in his amazingness. But this was not the path that I thought I was going on at all. I never planned to be an educator. The one thing I said I wouldn't do, and I only went to teach the first year, was to save money to move to New York. But God had other plans, because let me tell you, this ride right here, I did not know, but it has shaped my life in a way that I would never take back. It has shown me that I could do things that I never thought I could do. I mean, to interview for a principalship at the age of 30 for a person who had
Oh,
never
that's huge.
to go into education and to become a school principal. I was named the principal at 31, probably a couple of weeks after, if even a couple of weeks after my 31st birthday. And the next summer I had a PhD because I had been working on it. Like you, I have these big audacious dreams. But once I start on a path, I want to do it great. I want to do it amazing. I want to do it to the hilt. And I had a wonderful leader. My former principal, when I was an assistant principal, and I walked in her door and she told me, "You will go get a PhD." And I told her, "No, I am. You can keep that." Big shout out to Mama, Dr. Lizzie Austin. And she told me that I was going to get a PhD. And I started it because I listened. She was leading by example. And
Definitely.
I got that PhD a year after I became a principal. And I was 31. It's just amazing how, when you're obedient to the journey and you allow other leaders to pour into you and show you what you can do, even if it's not what your original desire was, to go and do it. And let me tell you, I have had the opportunity to hit stages post that career, because I'm not a school principal anymore. I've done that. I don't really plan on going back, but of course I am learning to never say never. But I've had the opportunity to perform on stages after being a mother of 3 and then 4. I hit my first major stage after I became a mother of 4.
That's amazing how that works.
Yeah, but the thing is, it never ends. But just be the leader wherever you are. Be the example wherever you are, because then you're leading by example. And be obedient to what you're called to do. And it's beautiful to see that you have fallen into that obedience starting at the age of 16. And here you are at 25 with these other big, huge, audacious dreams, but you still are being obedient to the path, and you're leading by example in your own right.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So do know that people are watching you, and they don't have to be younger than you. People are watching you all over the place because you're phenomenal. So keep doing exactly what you said leaders do. Lead by example. Lead by example. And whatever that source of confidence that you have, keep finding it. And if you need to, find new ones, because people are watching you as you lead. You are truly a phenomenal woman. And I see Janice Pickford, I am not the only one who believes that she does as well. And other people watching, they are so impressed and inspired by you. I saw Lavon Featherstone, she said she is inspiring me.
Oh, thank you.
So
Oh.
just know that you're making a difference in this world. So we have just a few minutes left. Is there anything else you want people out there to hear and know about you, about your leadership, or anything you got coming up or going on?
Let's see. It's Black History Month. Yay!
Yes.
So we are, the vision board tune was last month, and so that's is done. So now we'll be the Black History webtoon starts tomorrow. So go to facebook.com/the Prep Life Plan, like the page, and you'll start seeing the updates. We post a new tune probably like 2 to 3 times a week, and it'll be all Black History content. And then also our vision board boxes are coming this week, so I'm excited about that. Vision board boxes that's the comic, the activity book, as well as all the materials you would need to create a vision board. And if you follow our pages, you'll see more on it because I'll put it on the website and it'll be available. And please know that anytime you purchase whether it be a vision board box, a comic book, lip gloss from the Print Life Plan, all the proceeds go back into the organization so we can continue to create the content. We have a wonderful team of illustrators that make this content happen. And and that's pretty much what we do. So subscribe at printlife.org, facebook.com/the Print Life Plan, and follow us on Instagram at Print Life. We also have a TikTok that's at Print Life as well. We're still playing around with TikTok, so
I will say, so I joined TikTok.
Yeah.
I've done just a few. I am not a TikTok connoisseur. I got to learn a TikTok, but I have a very, one of my business friends who is doing amazing things with TikTok. And she was like, sis, you got to do TikTok. So, and trying to grow what I do and trying to reach more people and to help people become more authentic, empowering, and impactful, I have to do what I have to do to get out there. So, Jasmine, we're going to make sure people follow you everywhere. I'm going to put it down in the comments so people follow you everywhere. But if you can find the Print Life Plan, and I want to make sure that you all hear that she's saying primp, like when you primp.
Yes, it's primp.
Print Life Plan everywhere. I'm sure it will take you right to Jasmine, right to the Print Life, and you can see all the amazing things she's doing. Jasmine, thank you so much for joining me tonight on Leadership Live. Absolutely phenomenal. And I just look forward to all the great things you're going to do and keeping in touch with you and some of the great things we're going to do together and you'll do with my daughter because I know y'all have plans.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much. Oh, this was wonderful. This was amazing.
Well, absolutely. Well, everyone, I hope you have enjoyed us. Make sure that you have caught up this week. Next week, we'll be right here. I'll be right back here at 9:00 with another phenomenal woman on Leadership Live. Catch up with the past 4 weeks. If you haven't, you binge watch it like you do Bridgerton. Because I know some of y'all are binge watching Bridgerton. Yes. I know you are. But catch up, rewatch this, be inspired, know that you are loved, and remember to always keep your leadership all the way live. See you next Monday at 9 p.m. Bye.
Bye.